Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode of my pop culture reference breakdown of the very successful TV show Friends. As I've mentioned before, American sitcoms are full of pop culture references. And when you understand them, it makes the show more enjoyable and more fun, because you understand why each and every joke is funny. Now, I know that Friends is very popular with non-native English speakers and with English speakers around the world. It was a very successful show for very good reason. So hopefully the breakdown of the pop culture references or popular culture references will help you enjoy the show even more. Now, in the description box below, there will be some extra words and phrases that I didn't get to in the video and explanations for what they are. And there are also timestamps for the video if you want to come back and look at any particular reference. So without further ado, let's move on to Season 1, Episode 5, the one with the East German laundry detergent.
Well, it's a Mercedes if I move back home. Oh, it was horrible. He called me young lady.
Ooh, I hate when my father calls me that.
Did he give you that whole you're not up to this thing again? Oh, yeah. Actually, I got the extended disco version with 3 choruses of you'll never make it on your own.
In this reference, Rachel is talking about having a conversation with her father, and he went on and on and on about how she should change her life. And Monica asks if her father went on and on and on about her not making it on her own. And then Rachel says, yes, I got the extended disco version. And in the 70s and 80s, mostly 70s, most popular songs had a disco version released. Extra long, with more of a dance track to it. Even slower songs were put to a beat so that you could dance to it in a disco or a nightclub. And that's what she means. I got the extra long version of what he wanted to say.
Are you going to go over there?
No. Yeah, no. Okay, but not yet. I don't want to seem too eager. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. That seems pretty cool.
In the United States, children are taught to count in seconds using the state name Mississippi. Mississippi is one of the American states, but when you say it, it's long enough to basically take a full second. So kids are taught to count seconds by saying the word Mississippi for timing. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi is basically 3 seconds. And that's what Joey was doing, counting Mississippi to figure out how long it would take before he could go up and approach Angela. And later in the series, you will see Ross do it much later in the series, many seasons down the track. In order to get a tan, he counts Mississippi.
But there's a rat problem. Apparently, they're attracted to the dryer sheets, and, you know, they're going in fine, but they're coming out all fluffy.
Dryer sheets are only something I've ever encountered in the United States and Canada. And maybe I haven't been looking in the right place in other countries, but they're very big here because people often wash their clothes in a washer, move them directly to a dryer, not hang them out on the line. There are obviously people in rural places that do, but your average American and Canadian will move their laundry from the washer to the dryer without hanging it out. So they have little dryer sheets that they throw into the dryer or the tumble dryer in order to make the clothes more fluffy, and the dryer sheets are supposed to add body and extra softness and fluffiness to your clothes when they come out. And so that's why he says, yep, there's a problem with the dryer sheets, then with rats, and they were going into the dryer and they were coming out more fluffy.
Well, Monica's not coming. It's just going to be me and Rachel.
Oh. Well, hold on there, camper. You sure you've thought this through?
The term camper is used a lot in the US. Its origins are not known. I did try and do some research on it, but it just seems that nobody can really definitively state its origin. But a camper is someone who goes camping in a camper van, in a tent. What is most commonly known is a happy camper. Oh, he's a happy camper. She's a happy camper. And it's someone who's very satisfied with their job or a product that they bought. They're a happy camper. You know, if everything around you is good when you're camping, you're happy. So that's why Chandler says, hold on there, camper. Have you thought about the consequences of your actions? And in that context, it's like, hang on there, buddy or pal. Make sure that you've got everything ready and that you're happy.
Oh, and the fabric softener?
Okay. Now, what is wrong with my Snuggles? It says I'm a sensitive, warm kind of guy, you know, like a little fuzzy bear. All right, I can pick something else up on the way.
There you go.
Fabric softener is used everywhere. You throw it in with your laundry detergent in order to help make your clothes softer through multiple wash cycles. And Snuggles is a very, very, very famous brand here in Canada and in the US. And as you can see, it has a little teddy bear on it. And so Ross is saying, well, no, if she looks at my Snuggles, she'll think that I'm a soft, gentle teddy bear. And Chandler's going, no, you need to look manly and ready to take control of the situation.
I got you these.
Bullwinkle Socks. That's so sweet.
Well, I knew you had the Rockies, and so I figured, you know, you could wear Bullwinkle and Bullwinkle, or you could wear Rocky and Rocky, or you can mix and match Moose and Squirrel. Whatever you want.
Rocky and Bullwinkle are two characters in a very famous cartoon show that ran from the late 50s to the mid 60s. Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends was a very, very famous cartoon. And it's Rocket J. Squirrel, so Rocky is a squirrel, and Bullwinkle J. Moose, so Bullwinkle is a moose, and they're good friends, and they get into all of these capers. And so Chandler, who we know is a goofball, or who is a little silly, loves things like cartoons, and so he has Rocky the Squirrel socks. So Janice bought him Bullwinkle Socks, who is the moose. And she was saying, you can wear Rocky and Rocky, or you can wear Bullwinkle Winkle, or you can mix and match Moose and Squirrel. She's giving him the socks because she knows he has the one character. Now she's giving him the other.
But I saved it. I put my basket on top.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that your basket?
Yes.
It's really pretty. Unfortunately, I don't see suds.
What?
No suds, no save. Okay?
No suds, no save is just simply saying if your laundry detergent is not on top of the washer or the washing machine, it means you didn't save it. She's making up rules. She's lying. A basket on top of the washer is enough to say, this is my washing machine, I'm going to use it. And suds is just another term for any form of washing. You can make suds from soap, from laundry detergent. It's just a nickname. And she's saying no suds on top of the machine means you can't save it or you haven't saved it.
You must need detergent. No.
What's that?
Uberweiss. It's new, it's German, it's extra tough.
And now we get to the East German laundry detergent. For some reason, he just said it was a German laundry detergent, probably because by that stage in the show, East and West Germany no longer existed anymore. But it's a made-up brand, Uberweiss. And roughly translated, Uberweiss actually means ultra-white, which does fit for laundry detergent. But what is interesting about this reference is that fabric softener was actually referred to earlier. The Snuggles, if you remember, And Chandler told him to get something more manly. And so he went out and got Uberweiss because it's German and it's tough and it's manly. But he actually had fabric softener before. He has detergent now. It was an interesting change in the script, but that's why he bought Uberweiss.
Hey, you can do this. It's just like pulling off a Band-Aid, okay? Just do it really fast, and then the wound is exposed. Go.
Pulling off the Band-Aid reference is interesting. So Band-Aid is a brand name for plasters that you put on the skin when you have a cut or a wound. So plasters is actually the English term for it, but in American culture, they love using brand names as a replacement for what the item is. They'll say Kleenex instead of tissues, Band-Aid instead of plasters, Clorox instead of bleach. And so they often refer to them as Band-Aids. And there is an expression in English, to do something like pulling off a Band-Aid means that you do it quickly and the pain is short-lived. If you slowly pull a Band-Aid off your skin, especially if you've caught some hair in it, it's more painful. But if you rip it off, it shortens the pain, and that's the expression. But Phoebe, being Phoebe, got the expression wrong, and she said, you just pull it off quickly and then the wound is exposed. And then you can fix it, which is actually not the expression, which is why Chandler looks a little bit surprised by how she references that.
This is going to sound really stupid, but I feel that if I can do this, you know, if I can actually do my own laundry, there isn't anything I can't do.
That does not sound stupid to me. No, it's like the first time I had to make dinner for myself after Carol left me. I'm sorry, that's all the time we have. Next on Ross.
The reason why Next on Ross is so funny after the buzzer sound of the washer is because he was referencing like a talk show. So often on a talk show, and there's many of them, what would happen is there would be a sound or a segue that the show had ended, or that there was going to be a commercial break, and then they were going to go into something else, and then they would say, you know, next on Donahue, or next on Letterman, or next on Ellen. And so that's what he was referencing. He was busy talking about a deep moment in his life, and then the buzzer sounded, and he said, oh, next on Ross, which means we'll come back to that after the commercial break or next time.
Everything's kind of pink.
Everything's pink.
Yeah, except for the red sock, which is still red. I'm sorry, please don't be upset. It could happen to anyone, Rach.
But it didn't. It happened to me. God, I'm going to look like a big marshmallow peep.
Marshmallow Peeps, or Peeps as they are known, is something that I was introduced to for the first time when I went to the US in late 2017. I'd never seen them before. People swear by them. People love them. I personally think that they're horrendous because they're just nothing but sugar. But they're very famous. They usually come out at Easter. They're multiple colors, and yellow and pink are the two biggest colors for Peeps. And because she had a red sock in with her whites, and it created an array of pink clothing, she says, I'm going to look like a big marshmallow peep.
Something went wrong with Underdog, and they couldn't get his head to inflate. So anyway, his head is like flopping down Broadway, right? And I'm just thinking how inappropriate this is.
The story that Monica is telling is very interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, anybody that spent time around Thanksgiving in the US knows the Thanksgiving Day Parade. There's three if you include actual Thanksgiving and the food, and I did reference Thanksgiving in one of the previous videos where they were talking about the holiday season, and the one with the thumb. Two of the other very famous things on Thanksgiving is football. There's 3 big football games, American football games on Thanksgiving. And there's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it's a parade sponsored by Macy's store. It goes down the streets of New York, and it's a lot of air balloons, inflatable air balloons that people are pulling, and there are floats based on different stores or different organizations. It's very big. People come out to see it. It's televised. A lot of people watch it. One of the inflatable balloons in the parade is that of a cartoon character called Underdog. It was a Saturday morning cartoon that ran in the mid-60s, and she's talking about, obviously, Underdog getting away from the people that hold the balloons, because there's people holding those inflatable balloons with strings. And she was talking about Underdog's head flopping down Main Street, which is one of the streets in New York that the parade goes down. But what is interesting about this reference is in a later show, coming up soon in season 1, all the friends rushed to the roof because Underdog got away and was floating down Main Street. So she's telling this story about something that actually hasn't happened yet in the timeline of Friends, which is interesting because we're not too sure whether the script was written before or after that time, but she was referring to this balloon that got away, and she's telling a story. The behavior between who she thinks is a brother and sister but are two people dating is inappropriate. And that brings us into our next reference, Cocktails in Appalachia.
Hello? Were we at the same table? It's like cocktails in Appalachia.
Appalachia is a region in the central and southern sections of the Appalachian Mountains in the United States. Appalachia was an extremely poor area. And because of that, there's a lot of cultural myths that have come out of this area. And unfortunately, one of those myths, and there's probably some truth to it in the past, is interbreeding. Brothers and sisters and first cousins marrying each other. And so she is saying it's like having cocktails in Appalachia because the brother and sister are showing some very inappropriate behavior with each other at the table. And that's why it's funny. She doesn't realize until she has the conversation with Joey that they're not really brother and sister, and she's misreading the situations. And that's why she says it's like having cocktails in Appalachia.
Okay. How many of those have you had?
Oh, I don't know. 1 million?
Chandler, shh, easy, easy. Go to your happy place. La, 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 la,
I'm fine.
The last reference for this show, before I get on to some of the trivia, is a happy place. This is just something so common. In English-speaking culture, no matter where you are, we talk about going to our happy place. Go to your happy place. A happy place refers to a state of mind which is characterized by happiness and peace and contentment. It's a memory or a place in your mind that you go to when you need to come out of a depression or a funk or a bad place or just feel happy. Let's move on to a bit of trivia. Ross is asked by Rachel, don't you have a laundry room in your building? And this is very, very, very common in the United States. Apartment buildings, most often, more often than not, I would say potentially 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10, there is a laundry room in most apartment buildings, whether it's a tall apartment building like the Friends live in, or that Ross lives in, or whether it's a series of apartments, top and bottom, like I lived in Texas, and it's more little streets and apartments next to each other. In a tall apartment building, it's usually in the basement. And most buildings have it. Most apartments have a hookup inside the apartment where you can buy your own washer and dryer, hook it up, and use it in your apartment. But in most sitcoms and shows, you will see people often going down into the basement to do their laundry. Also, when he was making plans with Rachel, he said, let's meet, say, 7-ish. Now, I know from experience of travel and from teaching students all over the world that most countries work on the 24-hour clock. all English-speaking countries work on the 12-hour clock. 10 a.m., 10 p.m., 7 a.m., 7 p.m. So he was going to meet her at 7 p.m. at night. That's 1919 for most of you watching. But for us, it's 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Let's meet 7-ish, around 7 p.m. And because they were going to meet that evening, he did not need to say p.m. He just needed to say, let's meet around 7-ish. Let's move on to Joey's language. He said, I never should have broke up with her. And for many of you that know good grammar, you will realize that this is not good grammar. This is the present perfect tense. I never should have broken up with her is the correct sentence. But Americans do this. There's a couple of things that they do consistently in American English. With adverbs, they will leave the "ly" off. It was real big instead of really big. He walked slow instead of slowly. They do it often, and they do this with the present perfect tense. I never should have broke up with her. He should have knew it instead of he should have known it. It's a common mistake, and you will hear it quite often in American shows. And lastly, let's talk about Janice. This is the first introduction of Janice, and Janice stays in the show right until the end. I believe she appears at least once every season out of the 10 seasons. And although we are not introduced in this episode to her famous, "Oh my God," we do hear her laugh. The first few lines that she delivers is in a more neutral tone, the way the actress actually speaks. But then she gets into a little bit more of the nasally sound as she continues to talk throughout the scene and the following scene. But here is our first introduction to Janice and her laugh. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sure you realized that I enjoyed making it for you. I always do. Go back and watch the episode now that I've clarified a few things for you. Enjoy it. And I will see you in a couple of weeks for the next episode, the one with the butt.